on top of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, roll officer reports and comments. I'm looking out at the audience today. I'm not seeing any, did we do roll call? Okay. It was a long night last night. I had a little bit of a late start.
Okay.
We have no row officers with us today. Moving on to public comments. Do we have any member of the public wishing to make comment? Seeing none. Fiscal and contractual. We have no repository property. We have no advertising bids or proposals. We have no receipt of bids or proposals. We do have a number of warrant registers dated November 22nd, November 21st, November 17th, November 15th, and November 14th. I'll give my colleagues probably more than a minute to check those over. And then I'll take a motion to accept and file the warrant register just because the volume that we're going through. But the warrant register process is the culmination of the county's fiscal process. How that process works is we set the budget, which we're actually introduced next week. With different line items. So for example, commissioners, materials and supplies might have $500 allocated to it. From there, individuals in the departments under those budget areas are able to submit a purchase order to the Board of Commissioners for our consideration. First, that purchase order goes down for buying staples or a chair or whatever. Goes down to the controller's office. Controller signs off on it that there is money in the budget that can be used on that expenditure. That comes up to our office, signed off on by 2 commissioners. Goes back down to the controller's office. Controller authorizes it to be paid out. The treasurer then pays it out. So it's a big checks and balances system. After it's paid out, controller's office compiles what looks like this, which is a warrant register of everything that has been paid out. We check it over, make sure that there hasn't been anything paid that we haven't authorized, or things that we have authorized that haven't been paid. Approve it. Very, very large checks and balances. Make sure that all public dollars are very well accounted for.
And some pages we can skip through because we know the processes. We know that certain warrant registers will have the foster families and kinship families, and we know that their amounts are there that they get paid for monthly and things like that, or attorneys, the contract attorneys and things like that. So just in case if someone noticed me flipping through it quickly, I know what they are going through them.
If you notice me not going through them, I look through them before the
meetings. So I will motion to approve the warrant registers.
Second. The motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next up is minutes from Tuesday, November 15th, our last public meeting. And again, I'll give my colleagues a minute to check those over and take a motion to approve the minutes or make any changes as necessary next week.
I noticed something, and I have a feeling you'll be able to resolve it. Under general public comments, should that be Vaughn Creasy with
Yes.
a V, not Ron?
V-A-U-G-H-N.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
G-H-N.
I'll make that change.
Yes. Excellent program.
Maybe.
Yes. And I will move to accept those minutes.
November is always a little bit of an odd month for us. We missed 2 meetings, one for the election, and then one for County Commissioners Conference. So the minutes are usually a little bit more lengthy because we're condensing a month's worth of business into 2 meetings.
I'll second Commissioner Spillvogel's motion.
The motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have 2 written communications today. One is for who contributed to this project. The Graceland Road Bridge replacement from Neshannock Township. One is for NPDES permit notification for the airport terminal building. Airport terminal submitted by RIA and Graceland Road submitted by, so actually we contributed, yeah, both.
Right.
I'll note, as I always do, under state law, when different development activities take place in Lawrence County, the entities which are doing those development activities are required to notify the Board of Commissioners if, for example, the NPDES permit, which is an erosion and sediment control permit, those activities are taking place within the county. Make sure we're caught up to speed on everything that's taking place. That being said, we don't have approval authority over whether or not they get those permits, which require to be notified. So I'll take a motion to accept and file the written correspondence. This is any comments or questions on it.
Second, with just a quick comment, I may have mentioned this earlier, but I recall from my days as a township supervisor that this bridge on Graceland Road is the only bridge that is owned and maintained by Neshannock Township. It's the only one in the entire township. The bridge on King's Chapel.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it is. When you stop and think about it, the bridge on King's Chapel Road that goes over 376, that's owned by PennDOT. Even though King's Chapel Road is a township road, that bridge is a PennDOT bridge. And you stop and think there aren't that many other bridges in Neshannock Township. This is the only one. So anyway,
They're good for the next 20 years then.
Glad to help them, yeah. They're done.
Neshannock Bridges, good shape.
so again, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Motion secondly for discussion, hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Staff reports. Do we have any member of staff that has anything to report above and beyond what's already on the agenda? Seeing none. Mr. Reports and comments. Dan, you're on deck first today.
At this time, I don't believe I have, I'm just looking at my calendar, but no, I don't believe I have anything to report today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Loretta?
Other than CCAP last week, it's always a learning experience when I don't know whether it's just because it's our first term that we're new, but there's always something to learn and additional information that you can gather. So it was once again, a good conference. Yeah. That's it. Moving into December, it's just unbelievable. Where did November go?
On Christmas.
And there it is, right around the bend.
I hear it too. You hear the music playing everywhere.
Oh, yes.
You can't turn on the radio.
You cannot. You cannot.
Another thing, I have two things to mention. Number one, I'm putting the finishing touches on the preliminary budget for presentation next week. What originally was a $4 million deficit, we've successfully worked down to about a $1 million deficit. Still plugging away to fill that gap, and hopefully by the time we get it out to the public on the 6th, that gap will be plugged. On top of that, and this relates to our COVID funding, a number of counties, actually pretty much every county at this point, is undergoing significant studies and significant activities related to broadband expansion across their counties. Washington County actually just introduced a $50 million initiative to expand rural broadband access all throughout pretty much the southern portion of Washington County. Beaver County just announced a $20 million initiative. All those are backed up with planning modules that were put together by different consulting firms, but that identify target areas where broadband needs to be placed, which then they're able to use to go to broadband companies, Armstrong, Duquesne Electric or Duquesne Light, whichever one does the broadband, and say, hey, we need these areas taken care of. We have a study that shows we need them taken care of. Would you be willing to come in if we can go get federal funding? You go to the feds, show them the study, says, hey, we need some broadband access here, and the feds pay for half, and the company pays for half. Is generally how those projects work. So that being said, we sent out RFPs. We got one proposal back for a Lawrence County broadband program. It was going to be 2 months ago.
Yeah.
It was way too high for our liking.
Right.
It was like $2 million.
Yes.
I met with the individual, the principal in charge of the broadband, Michael Baker's broadband arm. We worked that price down to $247,000 that can be paid for out of the American. Well, we cut off some stuff, and $247,000 that can be paid for out of our American Rescue Plan funding. So we'll be bringing that forward most likely next week. Amy, I'll send it down to you before we do officially bring it forward. I'd like to get your sign off on it too before we go and enter into contract with broadband firm. So that's all I have.
Very good.
And now we'll move on to the resolution portion of the circus. First up, we have planning and LCSS resolution for discussion and possible approval to enter into an agreement with LCSS for the TEAM program and to facilitate the county's renovation project for the family wellness program located on 1745 Frumill Road. For context, this is the competitive CDBG funding that we received notification of, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago. So Amy, the planning director of McKinney, what do we have going on here?
So, yeah, just so stuff, it is, kind of a community development block grant, discretionary funds, CD3, this is our third round. LCAP approached the county, asked if they would be able to apply for these funds. The county would apply on their behalf. They will be the ones who will be administering the program. One of the items, which is the public services, is just a continuation of our CDBG CD round 1, which is the TEAMS program, Temporary Emergency Assistance Skills Program. Jen wanted to be able to finish out until next June, and so she applied for some additional funding, which is a little over $100,000, which we received for public services. So that's for the TEAM program. And then the remaining amount is a little over $1 million, 1.2, for them to continue with their renovations out there at their fruit mill. Jen did attach a description. It's for the housing. What is it called? Family's First Housing Program is what. And she did. There's a 2-page attachment there breaking down what they would use the funds for. So the agreement is just between the county and LCSS for them to administer those 2 programs, facilities, and the services. There is some administration dollars, which the county will see, our office will see, a little over $60,000 for administration of the program. These funds all have to be spent by June of 2023.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Because there's construction involved.
Yes.
LCAP's pulled off miracles before.
And I do think, I'll have to go back through my emails, I think they sent the actual, and they're starting the contracting.
Almost have to.
Yeah, we don't have a contract yet.
Yeah.
We don't have it yet. They will backdate it though. Jen's been working with Donna and Rico already on that. We've done the environmental review, but now they're sending out information for who's gonna sign off on it, and I have to get that back to them. I think they sent it Friday, day after Thanksgiving too, so I'll get that up to you guys for signatures, and then you will be getting an email soon then for
I'll sign off
the
as soon as I-
signatures for you guys to sign the contract in Morgan, so.
Okay. Questions, comments for Director McKinney? This is, what is this, Vanessa?
393.
393, I'll take a motion on 393.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second, any further discussion, hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Mr. President.
Up next, we have 2 CYS resolutions, both fairly,
It's gonna take me longer to pass these.
Well, you said you wouldn't be back anyway.
Well.
Wow.
I like you included the direct image copy since we on the thing.
Yeah, right. I didn't know how many minutes or papers per minute.
All
You're
right,
good, Mike, you're good. We love seeing you.
But no, they're gonna actually install that around the 15th, 16th of December, but the building ain't gonna start to January 1st. Okay. 60 months, 5 years. And then the Pence Run is more or less, we've never used them, it's just a backup plan, just in case we get in the line,
Right.
you know. So, but right now, we're not, we don't plan on using it.
yeah, just have the system in place.
Just in case, yeah.
Questions, comments for Mike? All right, I will take the motion to approve, we'll do them both together unless anybody has any objections to that, 394 and 395.
So moved. See, it's drifting this way. I'm like, did he ask for a motion? Just asked to put them together. So moved.
Second. Thank you. Motion is second, any further discussion, hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Up next, we have a resolution for discussion possible fruit allocate $15,000 out of liquid fuels to Slippery Rock Township for a load bearing study on Rose Point Bridge. We just generally in our duties, we meet with the townships quite frequently, the boroughs quite frequently, the city quite frequently. I remember a year ago, we sat down with Slippery Rock Township supervisors and, questions, what are your priorities in the township? What do you need help with? How can we provide assistance? What can the county do for you? And one of the first things they brought up was this bridge, which has been a problem area for them now for a while. My understanding is to the point where are people able to walk across it?
No, it's totally blocked
completely
off.
done now. Yeah, it's
Yep.
completely blocked.
And so maybe a month ago, we received a formal request from them, specifically for an allocation out of our liquid fuels funding, to study the, or I guess it's maybe, this is through Act 13.
Mhm.
Looks like, so, which is a subset of liquid fuel specifically for municipally owned bridges. But looking at a study of, a load-bearing study, to see how we can improve that, see if we can get that transferred, basically look and see what the options are to remediate the problem.
Right.
So I know it's something, this is above and beyond our normal liquid fuels allocations, just because again, this is a township, this is one of the township priorities, getting this bridge, figuring out what to do with this bridge. So I know I'm happy to vote in favor of it. Questions or comments from my colleagues on this?
Just that it does, with it being closed, has an adverse effect on the economic atmosphere in that entire area. So having to do that study, getting it done, seeing what needs to be done for remediation, dealing with the bridge, whether it just becomes a pedestrian or pedestrian light vehicle traffic or ATVs or something, it definitely needs to be done, and we most definitely happy to assist with the township. That'll appease Sunny Proch, and I won't have to get phone calls from him anymore. But it's always a pleasure. We say that jokingly. Sunny is always a pleasure. The Slippery Rock supervisors, all of them,
They work hard.
collectively work very hard for their township. Yes, they do. Yes, so we are definitely happy to assist in that. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Neighbors are here.
Thanks for your
Yes,
support.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I concur to Mr. and Mrs. Yeager, who own Rose Point Campground. This has created an issue for you folks because there is a neighboring business on the other side of the Slippery Rock Creek. And a lot of your patrons in the past have been able to walk or bicycle over to the miniature golf course and ice cream stand. And now with the closure of the bridge, they're precluded from being able to do that. Hopefully this study, as was mentioned by my two colleagues, hopefully this study will ultimately allow for some type of reopening. The bridge itself is a township-owned bridge. It's not a county bridge, but as Mr. Boyd noted, we've been asked by the supervisors to assist them in their efforts, and as was noted by both commissioners, we're all willing to do that, and hopefully the end result will be something that is able to accommodate your patrons and the public in general as far as access from one side of the Slippery Rock Creek to the other. That road, which is a township road as well, used to be 422.
That was the main drag.
It was the
Yes.
main road between Butler and Newcastle, and then I think in the early 50s, they built
right.
the new 422.
Straightened it out.
Yes, so I want to thank both Mr. and Mrs. Yeager for their interest in this, and they've had us out there earlier this year to look at it.
Yes.
And Supervisor Johnson was with us, Amy McKinney was with us. So hopefully this is a step in the right direction.
Well, we appreciate the attention you've given to the matter
Absolutely.
and the support that we're getting. So,
Absolutely.
and I realize this may not mean we open the bridge, but it means we'll know. what
We'll have
the
an
future
answer
of the
for it,
bridge
yes.
is.
What are next steps?
Yes.
This is what the report says. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do. How do we proceed? So definitely glad to be of assistance.
Thank you all.
Sure.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve 396.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next, 397. Just another copy release. Our copies are getting old. They're breaking down. We're starting to replace some of them. This one specifically is in the office of the commissioners.
I think we can all say it gets a lot of use.
Yes.
We're all responsible for that.
Absolutely.
How the budget, so we're printing out budget copies next week, 400 pages just right there.
Yes.
But I'll take them.
Hopefully front and back.
Yes. But I'll take a motion to approve 397.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 398. We have a resolution, this is for our cost allocation plan. We are required, thank you guys for coming in. Good to see
Thank you much. Sure.
Cost allocation plan with our federal funding programs, so MHDS, state and federal, MHDS,
Okay.
CYS, domestics, 911, et cetera. We're required to have a cost allocation plan. What that basically says is there are certain services that are provided through the county that are federally and state funded, but which county, like the controller's office, for example, processes the paperwork for. The human resources office, for example, handles hiring, handles healthcare benefits, et cetera. The county's retirement fund contributes to those people's retirements. They're county employees, but they're funded mostly largely through state and federal streams. The cost allocation plan allows us to quantify the county general fund's contribution to those operations and allows us to offset some of the costs relating to those operations through state and federal funds. So we're entering into agreement here with Susquehanna Consulting, who we also use, their personnel we also use for the administration of COVID funds for that cost allocation. Questions, comments on that?
No.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve 398.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next is moving some money to Russo's maintenance and repair for some window tinting for security purposes there. Right now, if you're driving along Route 18, you can look right through the window. And any
Makes
home business that wouldn't be an issue. In the magisterial office, it's better err on the side of caution. So we're getting those windows tinted. So any questions, comments on that? I'll take a motion to approve 399.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Voter services. This actually is coming out of our election integrity grant. It's not coming out of the voter services budget itself. We're just moving some money to pay for some staff, for some poll workers. Adult probation, some contingency to their materials and supplies to purchase some drug tests. Courts moving money from interpreter to jurors. We've had a number of trials this year. We met with Josh yesterday. How many did he say? 11?
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, we're seeing some increased juror payments as we have more trials. Jail doing a whole bunch of stuff, moving into contracted medical, salary warden, overtime, et cetera, just getting through the end of the year, moving some stuff around there. District attorney, same type of thing, just moving some money around to cover some end of year costs. Domestic relations, same thing. What I do is in the budget, I go through and trim everything down, so and then build a contingency account out. And so that instead of having every line item being inflated, we're able to get each individual line item down with the understanding there's sort of a bubble at the very end of the budget that they're able to plug and play with. But the expectation is that they use that. Well, they use the contingency versus again inflating every line item. Domestic relations, same thing, moving some stuff around. Courts moving the money from interpreters over to materials and supplies to get some court calendars. Human resources, again, contingency to background drug tests. We've had a lot of turnover in the jail and in CYS, so it's going through the regular processes. And that is what we have. Any questions on any of those transfers?
Just a comment and your last remark about the hiring and so on. In our visit to the CCAP conference, it's statewide. We're not the exception to the rule. Every county is struggling trying to find employees, particularly same area as us. CYS and their jails especially. We're not alone. Not alone.
I'll take a motion to approve those transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next commissioners meeting, Tuesday, December 6th at 10 a.m. in the commissioners meeting room. And that's like the fact of lots of egos. There'll be a planning commission meeting on Wednesday, December 14th at 12 p.m. at Los Amigos. So they'll enjoy some Mexican. Any additional public comments this time?
Hi, my name is Brian Christie. I live outside Mahoning Town. I work for a company called Wi-Fiber. We're a community engagement platform. We're finishing up the city of Canton and moving to Pittsburgh. I happen to live here, and I just wanted to give some information to you guys. And any problems you as a community have, we offer technology solutions based off your infrastructure. Right now, 18 months out in Canton, we've solved 2,000 crimes for the Canton Police Department through their live crime tracker. Won the ARPA award. We got 2 cities that we're in talks to in Pittsburgh to move into, and also Butler County. We offer many solutions, and I got a little notepad, and I'll take you guys' time.
Sounds good.
I don't do this for a living talking to people, so I'm just So, the things we do, like the police department, body cam offloads, cameras, parks is a big one lately out in Canton. People went
Vandalizing.
at night. We do motion alarms, automatic detection, speakers, and the object is to utilize what infrastructure you guys have now. So the big expense coming with putting this stuff in isn't an issue.
I would suggest a couple things. You mentioned parks, and the young lady that was here, Amy McKinney, our planning director, her office oversees a couple of county parks that we own and operate. You might want to talk to Amy in the planning office, which is right around the corner. Now, the county does not have a police department per se, other than we do have the sheriff's office. Now, the sheriff is independent of the commissioners, but he's in our building, Sheriff Perry Quilero. But then, with respect to other police departments, obviously City of Newcastle and a lot of our townships and boroughs have their own police departments, but they don't fall under our jurisdiction. There is no county police department.
Correct.
Other than the sheriff.
Yes.
Who handles certain aspects of court-related matters and some law enforcement. But those are 2 that pop into my head. Maybe you can suggest. Oh, yes, the district attorney.
Basically, have a police force.
Absolutely, right. That's very interesting because he talked about some different things when we met with him as far as surveillance and.
His office is in the old courthouse, which is accessible from this building. But those are the 3 that here at the county level come to my mind.
We actually offer like schools, roads. We're doing the big ARPA thing out in Ohio. Colleges, we've done Allegheny College up in Meadville. We personalize whatever issues you guys have, and we can come up with solutions for you guys that are cost beneficial.
Well, and with respect to roads, and you heard us talk about bridges today, county doesn't own any roads.
Correct.
We do own some bridges, but obviously our municipalities own a lot of streets and roads, as I'm sure you know. So it's too bad the Boroughs Association and the Township Supervisors Association have kind of gone dormant.
Right.
And because they used to meet as a group. We do have the League of Municipalities, but I'm not, do they meet in January?
I think,
Amy would know. If you talk to
you could
Amy.
get a lot of answers actually
From Amy.
Even one of the municipal address books, the directories. She would have one of them as well.
All right.
I would give you contact information for all 27 municipalities.
And the school districts.
Right, and the school districts,
everything.
that's right.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah, Amy will help you out.
Awesome.
And again, she's right around the corner.
Out here, take a look. What was her last name?
McKinney, M-C, capital Kinney.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All righty. Thanks.
All right, I will adjourn the board of commissioners.
Thank you.
Very good.
Oh, I need to mention something to both.
Sure.
Oh, there's Amy right there.
Oh, very good.
We were just talking about you.
Oh, McKinney.
It was good.